What is up, everybody? So in this video, I want to talk about breakups again, but I want to come at it specifically from the perspective of the person who's getting broken up with. Because I think the experience for someone that's getting broken up with versus the person doing the breaking up, it's very different. They experience the situation much differently. And I think what happens to a lot of people that are getting broken up with is that they find it hard to understand how their partner or their ex-girlfriend or boyfriend was able to move on so much quicker than they were in the relationship. And when you look at the stats, typically it's women that are the ones doing the breaking up. It says here that when it comes to men and women, there's a clear answer as to who is filing for divorce more often. Nearly 70% of divorces are initiated by the wife. Or even when you look at like long-term relationships outside of marriage, it says women are more than twice as likely as men to say, however, that they've never been broken up with. Similarly, men are almost twice as likely as women to say that they have never been the one to end the relationship. So almost twice as much women are the ones that are initiating the breakups, even outside of marriage. So just want to provide some understanding and some insight into why or how the situation is very different for the person breaking up versus the person being broken up with. And the first point I want to make is that the breakup happens at different times. So if you're the person that's being broken up with, it's just one event, it happens one day, and you're kind of blindsided by it almost. Whereas if you're the person that's doing the breaking up, it's much different. It's not like you just wake up one day and you're like, oh, I'm gonna break up with my boyfriend or my girlfriend and call them up and then their relationship ends. Typically, there's a period of time, whether it be a couple days or a couple weeks or even a couple months, where you're thinking about it and you're debating it and you kind of process the breakup as happening already in your head, and it gives you time to think about it and kind of plan your actions moving forward and just emotionally process everything over the span of days, weeks, or months. Whereas the person who's getting broken up with, oftentimes they don't even see it coming, at least not till maybe a couple days before it, and it can really blindside them and they can be caught off guard, and it can be very confusing as to why their partner or ex-partner, ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, why they're able to move on so quickly after the breakup actually happens. So to summarize that, the actual event of the breakup may have happened today, but for the person who did the breaking up, they likely processed the situation days, weeks, or even months before that day actually happened. And then the second big point I want to bring up with this is that social media encourages monkey branching. Now, what exactly is monkey branching? It says monkey branching is when someone goes from one relationship to another. Think of it like a monkey swinging from branch to branch. Each new branch is a new relationship. The dating term often describes a significant other who's constantly flirting with other people they want to date in the future. So basically what this means is that the gap in between the end of one relationship and the start of another relationship is very small when someone monkey branches. So they may be in one relationship still, and they're already kind of prospecting or vetting or kind of weighing their options for life after that breakup happens. And the unfortunate reality is that social media makes this so much more realistic or so much more accessible. And it's because we ourselves become more accessible when we have social media. In previous generations, if we wanted to meet people or just kind of put ourselves out there and market ourselves and get attention from other people, we had to actually go out and meet people and socialize and do it, in person. Whereas now, people can just go on Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook, post a couple pictures, and they can get hundreds of people liking their photos or responding to their stories, engaging with them, and just kind of filling that void. So if at any point in the relationship, one party feels like they're not getting the attention they deserve, it's really easy then for them to go to social media and get that attention from people elsewhere. And anybody who's been on social media knows how thirsty guys especially can be on social media, which is why I think it really plays to a woman's advantage. The average woman today can post something on social media and she'll likely get attention or likes or engagement from men. whereas the average man, it's typically not the same experience. They're not getting as much attention online. And now I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, well, this whole idea of monkey branching, it's just wrong. People that do that, are bad people. And I agree, it's not good. It's not morally sound to monkey branch from one relationship to the next. But if you think about it logically, it makes sense. Think about when you're looking for a new job. Do you quit your current job and then start searching for a new job? Or do you search for a new job while you're still employed? It's the latter because it makes more sense. It's safer, it's less risky. Your market value is higher while you're employed or while you're dating versus when you're unemployed or single. And that's just the reality of the situation. So while it may not be the morally correct thing to do, it still happens, and I think it still happens more than a lot of people are willing to admit. It's funny because when I reflect back on my college relationship, I was dating this girl for about 2 years, and once the end of the relationship started coming up, I noticed, or at least as I look back on it now, I noticed that the social media usage was very different then as opposed to when we were starting out our relationship. When we were starting out our relationship, a lot of the pictures she was posting was us together, and it was just, I guess, dialed down a bit and less often. And then towards the end of the relationship, I noticed she was posting more frequently. She was posting more pictures by herself versus pictures with me. And it makes sense. She was essentially kind of weighing her options during that period of time before we actually broke up. She was prospecting, vetting, just seeing what else is out there. And I'm sure guys were sliding her DMs and liking her photos, and it kind of gave her that attention that she was craving and kind of seeing just what else is out there. So to sum it all up, the first point is that the breakup happens at different times depending on if you're the one breaking up versus the person getting broken up with. And then point number 2 is that social media encourages monkey branching. So I hope these points help give some clarity on the situation. And if you're one of these people that's going through a breakup and you're the one that got broken up with, or even if you're the one doing the breaking up, hopefully this just gives a little bit more perspective on why it happened, why your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend is acting how they are after the relationship, so that you can understand it for what it is and start rebuilding yourself and moving forward with your life after. My point with these videos isn't to paint a negative image on anyone, whether it be men or women, but just to kind of give the reality of the situation so that we can accept it and start moving on with our lives and not dwell on the past too much. I hope this video helps someone else that's going through a similar situation. If you liked the video, hit it with a thumbs up or leave a comment down in the comment section below. Consider sending this to a friend that may need it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.